Welcome back to the Code Wolf. Today we're going to see how to use the GitHub Copilot Coding Agent to solve open issues on an app repository. And the AI is actually going to solve all of this for us. We basically just have to review the PR and test it if we want to, and just kind of observe the results that it comes up with. And so for this example, we're going to be using dbChat Pro, which is a fairly realistic or substantial app that I've built for my channel. There's a whole playlist on my channel out there if you want to learn more about it. But I already have it running locally, and you don't need to know that much about this app for the video to make sense. I'm just giving some context here using this app. So this app allows you to query your database using natural language. So we have a dashboard here where we can type in a prompt and get results back. We can see our database schema over on the right, and it has some chat and favorites and history features. And to connect to a database, you just go to this connections page, and you would pick your database type. So right now it supports SQL Server, MySQL, Postgres, and Oracle. And then you'd plug in your connection string and you'd save that. So I already have this demo database set up over here on the right. And then once our database is hooked up on our dashboard, we would just select that database. And then you can choose an AI platform. Right now I only have OpenAI configured, but we'd plug in a model like GPT-5 and just say, get me 5 products. So there's a products table, which we can see over in our schema here. So there's 5 products that came back from the database. Again, the actual app here isn't that important. I'm just giving you some context on the overall flow of this so that the examples make more sense. Now, what if we want to add new features to this app? And with an established app, you'll often create new features or expand the functionality based around open issues. So if we go back to our GitHub repository and we go over to the Issues tab, right now there's 3 issues open, and a lot of times issues will come from internal teams or your product owner or the community or however your app is set up. So in this case, there's actually 2 real issues open from the community here. And then I've created a third one. And so we have a few here to use as an example. So for example, right now there's a feature request to add Snowflake access and one to be able to sort table and column names. And then I've requested the ability to name favorites. So if we go back to our app, what does this all mean? So on our connections page, if you remember, there's 4 different database types that we can connect to. And I've added more and more over time like this, but right now you cannot connect to a Snowflake database because it won't understand that connection string format, and there's some stuff going on behind the scenes to make each of these implementations work. So if we want to add Snowflake, that's a moderate amount of work. It's not too difficult, but I don't have a lot of experience with Snowflake, so I don't want to look up how to do all that myself. It would be nice if I could just assign that to Copilot and see what it comes up with, and then I'll just review the results. And for our other issue, that was the ability to save favorites. So if I were to run our query again, and I'll just submit that. And then once we get these results back, down at the bottom, we can save that as a favorite. And that shows up over in our favorites panel. But right now it just saves the name as the query name, which if you have a long prompt, that's not going to be very useful. And as this list grows, those wouldn't be very readable. It would be nice if we could give these a friendly name or tag them. And so that's what 2 of these issues are. And this third one we won't get to in this video, but hopefully that'll get resolved soon as well. So how do we actually have Copilot solve these for us? Well, if we go into these issues, you can see over on the right, we have our usual assignees area over here where we can assign someone to work on this. And right now I have this option for Copilot, your AI pair programmer. And this feature only shows up if you have Copilot Pro. You do need Copilot Pro. It is a monthly subscription. I think the price is $10 a month as a base cost, but that changes and you should double check that. But that does give you this coding agent option. And right now I have this configured to work on all repositories, but you can also set this up for just specific repositories, which is kind of cool. So back over on our issue, we can just assign this to Copilot. So now Copilot is assigned to this. And if we scroll down here, this is going to start updating as Copilot works on it. And this is really cool. It'll actually email you updates, and it provides detailed logs of everything it's going to do. So it'll formulate a plan and execute that plan, and then eventually open up a PR and show those results. Now over on the Actions tab, we can actually see that workflow running. So if we open this up, there's this Copilot node here, and we can see the whole plan here. So it's preparing Copilot. It's starting up any MCP servers it needs to accomplish this, so there's a lot going on here. But we can collapse that, and now it's processing the requests, there's cleanup, and so on. And as it moves along, it'll actually provide a more human-friendly summary of some of this. So if you keep checking back on the original issue, it's going to eventually update with a link to a PR, and that PR will have detailed notes. So I'm just going to let this run. It usually takes about a few minutes for sort of a small to moderate request like this. I would call this a moderate level feature, as we'll see when it comes up with the code. So I'm going to let this run, and then we'll come back in a second. All right, so it looks like it finished, and it took about 9 minutes, and it added a link to the PR that it created. So let's click to go over there. And what I really like about this is that it adds really detailed notes. This is much better than what most developers would probably write, but there's lots of information here about what it actually did. In this case, though, it's easiest to just look at the Files Changed tab, and we can kind of see what it came up with. And I know just from building this app that this looks roughly correct. So for example, in our UI, it's adding Snowflake as a new drop-down item. In our program file, it's adding a new Snowflake database service, so it's registering that for dependency injection, just like we have our Oracle, Postgres, and SQL services further up. And then in our CS proj, it's adding a Snowflake NuGet package. It updated our database service to select the Snowflake service when appropriate. And here's where the main logic lives in the Snowflake database service. So we can see all that here. Now, this might look impressive, but it doesn't really mean anything unless it works. So that's what we actually want to test here. And there's actually an easy way to test a PR like this that some people might not realize. So let's go over to VS Code where I have this app running. And you can actually check out a PR directly using a git command. So I'm going to paste that in here. So if we do git fetch origin, and I know this PR was numbered 14. So if we look at our PR up in the address bar, we can see the 14 there. So I'm going to run that. And that's going to create this branch of PR-14. So then we can just say git checkout. And if I can spell that right, that was git checkout PR-14. So we'll run that. And you'll notice that our project updated over here. So if we go into our core folder, for example, in our services, we now have this Snowflake database service. And I didn't write this. This is brand new from the PR. And so those other changes are in here as well. So this CS proj file is now pulling in Snowflake and so on. So now we can just run the code from this PR. And so now our app is running in the browser again, and it's running on that branch. So I'm going to go over to our connections. And first, we can see from this drop-down that now there's this option for Snowflake. And so I'm going to pick that, and I'm going to call this Snowflake test. And I did create a Snowflake account for this video, and Snowflake comes with a sample database, which is really helpful. So I'm just using kind of the built-in cloud database here just for testing. And so if we jump back to our app, I'm going to plug in a connection string from that and say check connection. And there it is. It was actually able to connect to our Snowflake database. And we can see that this contains orders and part numbers and regions and so on. So I'm going to say save. And that pops in over on the right. So now let's go back to our dashboard and see if kind of the final piece of this works. So I'm going to select our OpenAI platform and plug in GPT-5 as our model. Now, even though I don't know anything about this database, since it's just a sample database, we can use our Schema Explorer over on the right in this app. And let's say we want to get all of the regions or all the nations or something. And it looks like there's a relationship between these two. So maybe we'll say, get all of the nations by region or something like that. And I'll say submit. And it looks like the query was actually successful. So here the region is Africa. And we can see all of the nations over in this other column. Then the region switches to America. So this looks like it's South America. But our query did work. So now this app actually supports Snowflake. And what's crazy about this is I've never even worked with Snowflake before this video. And this entire process only took 10 minutes for that workflow to run and for this PR to open. And so now we could merge this PR in, and our app would now support Snowflake. I think this is really amazing, and I want to show you a couple of other examples of how this can go even further. So for one thing, I want to show this result from yesterday, this add named favorites. So if we look at our pull requests, this one already ran yesterday, but I can still show you what it came up with. So there's another detailed PR, and there's a bunch more UI changes here in the PR. And this pull request was number 11. So I already have that locally, but I can say git checkout PR11. So we'll switch to that branch. If I can spell this right. Now if I run this again, let's see what this came up with for this new UI feature. So I'll open up our browser, and I skipped the part here where I set up a connection and plugged in our AI values here, just so we can see the functionality of this new feature. So I'll say, get me 5 products again. And now this time when we get our results back, let's click on favorite. And now we get this really nice pop-up dialog. So before, this would just immediately add it over in our panel on the right. But what if I gave this a name? So I'll call this something like test favorite. And for the tags, we'll say products 5 and save the favorite. And now if we go over to our favorites tab, we can see it now has this nice box where it gives us the tags and the name. And it even added filtering for us. So if I were to search for green or something, but then if I were to search for products, that comes back. So this is now filterable. So the number 5 will show it, but the number 4 will not. So Copilot added all of this in 10 minutes. So this is a huge productivity boost. So we can essentially go back out to Copilot and we can see the PR for that, but we could just start adding issues and assigning them to Copilot and see what it comes up with. And in some ways, this is actually preferable to vibe coding, where you actually have to be hands-on in the IDE and keep messing with it. This is sort of like a passive background version of vibe coding, and I really like it here, how you can just review and test the PRs. Now, there's one other thing I want to show you, and if we go out to our code, we can see that there's this GitHub folder in the project. And inside of that, there's this copilot-instructions markdown file. This file allows us to give instructions to the coding agent to tweak its behavior. And this is a really simple example, but these instruction files can actually be really long and detailed. But this one just says, leave thorough code comments and make sure you note that the code was generated by AI in the comments. So did Copilot actually listen to us? Well, let's go see what it did in our Snowflake PR. So I'll open that back up and go over to Files Changed. And if we go to a file that has more substantial code, it did listen to us to some extent. So here you can say it says generated by AI, Snowflake Database Service Implementation. So it did know in the comments that this was generated by AI. And there's some comments here as well. So parse the connection string, schema query using the information schema. So it is adding comments. I would have liked these to be a little more thorough, so I might go back and tweak that instructions file, but this does prove that it is at least paying attention to it and following those instructions. So that's a really cool and powerful feature. If your organization has specific rules about PRs, so it can also influence what's written here in the PR, that way you can make the coding agent adhere more closely to your organizational standards. So thanks for watching. Please hit those subscribe and like buttons if you joined the video or consider becoming a member, and I'll see you next time.